Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, lovely people, depending on where you are watching us from in this beautiful world. I am so excited, Pam. You and I've been counting down the days, the weeks, to have you back on Unsilence Grief here today, because last time we talked, we came out of this and we were like, oh my God, there was so much more that we didn't cover. And I also knew there was so much more coming for you. So I asked you to come back for part two, and we were talking about a very important key to a lot of people's lives, but I'm not going to take too much away. Would you do us the honor and introduce yourself again to those who don't know you yet? Welcome, Pam.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I've totally, absolutely been counting this down because I love you. I know our energy
Thank you, thank
vibed
you,
from the
thank you.
jump. So, so
Yes,
happy to be back. Thank you so much.
likewise. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm Pam Baker in Atlanta, Georgia, and I lost my husband to glioblastoma almost 4 years ago. So that was the precipice for the things we talked about before, which is the Widows Who Whine group
Yeah.
um, and all the different things. But then it also led to this question of the key, which we can get into. But
Mhm.
not sure how much of my backstory you want me to give. I know you're going to link the
I
show,
would
but
like, yeah, we'll link to our first interview so people can watch it in more detail. But can you give us a little bit of a rundown? What is Widows Who Whine? I'd really like you to share that in a nutshell. How did you come about that? How did you found that?
for sure. So after John died, as we do, we have to figure out how to live with this new thing called grief. And
Mm,
it's heavy and it's big. And, as you did and are still doing, and me as well, I have four kids trying to raise your children while you're also processing your grief. I went to all the things that were offered that in my area, the grief support groups, all the different ways to process, and none of them resonated with me.
mm,
They just were a little too religious for me. I'm very spiritual, but
mm.
not super religious, and they all had heavy religious overtones. So I hired a grief counselor and did one-on-one and
Yeah.
processed uh, way to heal and just live with in a healthy way with my grief, and so that
Mm,
worked really well for me. However, I'm a part of this group, a Facebook group here in my area. I'm just north of Atlanta, and it's a mom's group on
mm,
Facebook, and there's like 9,000 women who are on it. And so inevitably, it's kind of sadly a regular occurrence that people would post something about their mom needing support as a new widow, or their friend just lost her husband, and what are there
mm.
out there for resources. And every single time, all it was all of the religious things. And so
Yeah.
for me, I was like, that's not for everybody. And where's the part where we get to work toward joy and not just sit in the grief? And
Yeah.
so for me, that was what got my brain spinning about there's got to be a better way. There's got to be not a better way. I shouldn't say that. I should say just an option and
Mm,
a next step. So
yeah.
I created this group called Widows Who Whine, and it's WINE, not the whiny wine. So it's the drinking wine. And I
I love
wanted
it.
it to have a social vibe feel like this is what we're doing. We're going to be social. We're going to have fun again. It's
Mm,
okay to have fun. It's okay to laugh. And I say it takes, I feel like most of the resources out there for widows, they focus on the surviving part, but I wanted to
yeah.
move to the thriving part. And
Mm,
so with my group, I opened up my my doors one day and put it on social media and said, anybody want to come over? I'm starting this group. It's a social group, meant to have
mm.
fun and find joy again. And 14 women showed up, strangers to one another.
It's amazing.
And it was February 23, and now we're at just over 360 women in my area
Wow.
who are part of the group. I organize one social thing a month, like I said, and
Yeah.
it's anything from, I call some things learning and libation. So we'll have like a financial
Mm,
planning 101 or a home maintenance
mm.
101 to do, give you like feel empowered in things that maybe you didn't have to do in your role in your relationship. Um, but mostly it's fun. We do all kinds
Yeah.
of things from axe throwing to
I
uh,
love it.
to cornhole to candle making. I mean, all kinds of fun stuff, and
Yeah.
movie nights, all all Galentine's parties. We do all kinds of fun stuff. So
Mm,
and it's been really, really cool to see just that happen. Like all these
Yeah.
women who come in like a little shell shocked and kind of staring
Mm.
at each other like, ooh, what am I doing here?
Coming
To
out of
really,
her shell.
yeah, like
Yeah.
transform into this new being of this next chapter and being okay with it and not being like,
Mm.
oh, I shouldn't be doing that. I should be honoring my husband by being so sad and, stuck in my grief. And it's
I need to
really,
pause you there for a second. I love what you just said. That's why I need to just quickly, if that's okay. I need to be sad to honor my husband. Like that is something that society preaches and
totally.
never resonated with me. And I also know never resonated with Rob, my late husband. And the way we talk about it and the way we promise to each other, the what if conversation, what would you do if something was to happen to me? It was like, please create the happiest life possible for the boys. And for me, I always said that and I felt it even deeper. I honor Rob by living the happiest life I possibly can because that's what made us happy,
Mhm.
love, connection. And for me to continue that and to create that for the boys and to show them what's possible, that is the most beautiful way to honor him. More than me sitting there and being sad. How would that honor him? I don't understand that concept. I never did.
I don't either, but you're right.
Mm,
It's so preached, and there is judgment. You can see people are like, "Oh, I guess she's over him. I guess that,
oh,
you do hear that, but
yeah.
it is living a happy life is also like the best example to your kids to show
Mm,
them that is you
yeah.
can be sad and wish that he were here while
Yeah.
also being happy and making the most of what you have.
Yeah.
And that's those can coexist and it's fine. It's good.
Mm,
And so I think that is such a great example. I look at my own kids, and people will ask, I'm sure you get that too, like, how are the kids even now? It's
mm.
now
Yeah.
almost 4 years later, but my youngest is still 16. I mean, still
Mm,
younger. And
yeah.
just to be like, they're good. They're like
Yeah.
happy and doing really well and well adjusted. And I'm grateful for
Mm,
it every day. Grateful for it.
yeah.
But I do think it's
And
some
the
of,
thing is also, like if they are going through something, like all teenagers do, but when you've
Mhm.
experienced something like that, there is this instant, oh, still grieving his dad. I mean, that to me is you almost get to the point. Like I had a really beautiful conversation, deep, deep conversation, and I'm saying that because it was behind the scenes. We emailed each other, and I'm not going to name who it is because of her privacy. And she put an email newsletter out there about vulnerability. And it really touched me. And I wrote her this really long email back saying, it's really interesting because when you were going through that, I knew that you weren't fine, but you let everyone believe that you were, including us, like really good friends, close friends. And I want to tell you, I hear you and I see you because I do the exact same thing. I wait till I'm out on the other side and then I go into sharing it with everybody. And this is how you get through it. And I go into teaching mode and I want to tell my boys how to get through this. And I want to tell all my friends and the entire world, this is how you get through it. But while I'm in the vulnerability, I'm saying this openly here, I still struggle to reach out and say, I need somebody to be with me right now because for me, I know I've sat with that, I worked through a lot of that. And for me, what comes up, and I'd love to hear how you feel about this, Pam, is that when I reach out, it's almost like an entire world around me goes like, oh, there you go. She's doing it properly now. Now she's
Yeah.
grieving right. I'm like, why is everything attached to, oh, now this is grief? Or are you
Mhm.
having a bad day? Or are you grieving again? I'm like, I had good and bad days before Rob passed. So why is everything once my husband died is all of a sudden is everything was about grief? I get it.
Yeah.
I work in this field, so everything I
Yeah.
do is.
Yeah.
But for me, everything I do is helping people get through it and get back to happiness and joy. So, how is that for you when somebody, like how are you with vulnerability and telling people while you're in it? Do you also wait till you're out, or can you
No, I'm
share it in
terrible.
the moment?
I'm terrible about that.
Mm,
I've always been one to, give that I have been nicknamed actually Wonder Woman, like the strength, and you're the strongest person I know, and I kind of
Mm.
take pride in that, which is not good.
You take what
But
in that, sorry?
I take pride in being
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that
yeah,
strength, that pillar of, unbreakability. I mean,
yeah.
my theme song for as long as it came out, I don't know if you remember that. I loved that song. Remember, Tub Thumping or whatever their name was. I get knocked down, but I get up
Oh, yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then that one, gosh, I can't think of who sings it, but it's the titanium. Basically, I'm titanium and nothing can get
Mm.
through me. Those are like my theme songs. I've lived
Yeah,
by that. And so,
yeah.
no, I'm terrible about showing vulnerability. But I will say that one of the things I find so rampant in the widow space is I call it the masks of widowhood. Like you have to
Mm.
wear these different masks when you're out because you're
Yeah.
expected to be this way, or you're expected to be, whether it's expected to be like still
Mm.
grieving or expected to be past
Yeah,
the grieving, or
yeah,
all the things. There's so many
yeah,
expectations, there's so much
yeah.
complicated emotions mixed with all
Mm.
of it. And that's one thing that's so beautiful about my group is, and I think that's why people are so comfortable, because it's the place they can take the mask off and just
Mm.
be, because they're with people
Yeah,
who, and they don't get the
yeah.
head tilt. They don't get the,
The head
I may
tilt. Oh my
have,
gosh, yes.
tilt.
I
How
read
are
something
you?
about it this morning. I'm like, I need to write about this. And now you're saying it. Synchronicity. I love
It,
it.
that makes me insane.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told this story last time I was on, but it is one of my favorite stories because it's so telling. All these little offshoots have happened with Widows Who Whine because I tell the women it's your group.
Mm.
If you have something you're passionate about, start it. So we have a book
Yeah.
club, we have Widows Who Trivia, Widows Who Dine. We have all these different offshoots. And I was at book club one night, and I don't organize that one. But I love book club. So I go.
Hmm.
And this woman walked in, didn't know who I was because why would she? I don't
Yeah.
organize that one. So and it, like, as soon as she walked in, it was her first time coming to an event. She started crying. And so I went up to her and I was like, talk to me. What's happening
Mm.
right now?
Yeah.
And she said, I've been a widow for 10 years, and this is the first time I feel like I can breathe. 10
Oh,
years.
oh my God.
And I was
That's
like, that,
amazing.
I tell that story all the time
It's
because
beautiful
that
and sad at the same time, you know? It's amazing.
exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why this space is so desperately needed because,
Mm.
you can go out with your single friends and they're usually
Yeah.
complaining about their exes, and you can go out with your couple friends, but
Oh,
then you're
current
like the
ones.
yeah, and you're just like "Mm." And so, but you can go
Yeah.
out with your widow friends,
Mm.
and we all get it. We're
Yeah.
all we're all in the same space.
It's
So,
also a tough situation though, because I often thought, when I go out, and same thing that happened before Rob died. I was go out with a couple of girls, and all they did was complain about their husbands or make fun about, their lives. Let me put it that way. And I just thought I could not relate. I sort of always retreated from these situations because I was really happy. I had
yeah,
nothing to complain about. Nothing. And I'm not saying that now because he's dead and then, you think he was like I never had anything to complain about with Rob. I can say that wholeheartedly. So when you then go out with a group of women, same or different ones, doesn't matter. And now you're a widow. And then there are the husband stories coming out. He doesn't do this or he doesn't do that, or he's not involved with the kids, or he didn't wash the dishes, or whatever. I'm sitting there thinking, really? I mean, sometimes I do wonder, like, you do know that Rob died, right?
I
And now
know.
you're
It's like
complaining about your
like
husband. You should be happy that he's with you. But that to me, my thinking, my base thinking about that hasn't changed before or after Rob's passing. It is can you look at what you have? Can you be
mm,
grateful for what you
right.
have? And
Yeah.
gratitude in grief is a really, really tough one because a lot of people then go like, oh, just, be glad for. I'm like, buzz off.
Yeah.
I'll be ready for gratitude when I work through my grief. But right now, it's not the right thing to tell me. I'm freaking grateful for everything I have, but don't come with gratitude while I'm in deepest grief. It's
No,
the worst thing that you
no.
can, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
How did you go with that? Did you have a lot of people say that to you? Just be grateful for, that your kids are healthy or whatever. I don't know.
I haven't had that. I haven't had that so much. And I have had people say, be grateful that you had such a great relationship and you had it
Mm,
for so long because we were together for, collectively our dating and together
yeah.
over over 30 years. So
That's
we met when
amazing.
I was 18. So we were
Mm,
together for a long time. But and I am grateful for that. Some people never get to experience that kind of a relationship. I am grateful for that.
yeah.
But it still wasn't the plan to have it
No, I'd
cut
still
short.
like it to continue, no matter how long, Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's so
Mm,
funny. It just reminded me of this story. One night I was out with some of my widow friends, and um, we were going to this show down on the green, and but we went to a restaurant first, and we're coming out, and my friend Leslie, her group of friends that she knew, started going into the restaurant as we were coming out, and they were like, "Oh, how are you? How are you doing? What are you guys up to? And you're gonna go to this? You're gonna go to that? Da da da." And she's like, "What are you guys up to?" And they said, "Oh, the husbands are all out tonight, so." uh, we're husbandless, so we don't know what we're gonna do. And like, we're so excited, so basically so excited because they were husbandless. And she had just said she's with her widow friends. And but she's hilarious. She's one of the funniest people I know. And she was like, "So are we. We're going out." And they just to like make the point, their mouths just dropped. And I was like, that was one of the funniest things I ever saw
I
in my
just want
life.
to high five her. That's
It was
amazing.
so good. I was just
Yeah,
like, that's like know your audience. But I had somebody just
yeah.
recently who say a friend introduced us, and I was with another girlfriend who's a widow, and she was like, and this woman was a widow, and but her friends weren't. And she's like, "Oh,
Mm,
these are my friends, they're in my widow group." And she literally looked up, she's like, "Oh my God, I wish I was a widow." And I was like, "Did you just say that out loud
what?
to, to our faces?" Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah. Yeah. So
wow.
there's all kinds of things. There's so
Yeah.
there's so
I've come
Mhm.
across some crazy things too, but that's interesting.
Mhm.
I I find that there is a very particular, very quirky, sometimes really dark sense of humor that you develop when you have experienced grief. So there was actually a particular group for widows that was all about that. And I'm not even going to mention the name because I don't want to advertise that group anymore. There was a time where I thought it was hilarious and sometimes really dark and deep, but you could feel that it's only a sense of humor that you can have when you've lived through it. Nobody else would be allowed to say that because it would be highly inappropriate. But when you've been through it, it becomes that connection point where like you get it. And yeah, it's
Mhm.
actually quite funny and it's not, it's dark.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was this particular, I call it, the widow's humor sense or whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. But then the group turned into something in a very nasty direction where I didn't want to be part of anymore. And I just retreated and took myself out of the group and left. But I do feel there is a particular sense of humor that you can only have when you've lived through it. I actually talked about that with my son in the car yesterday. And we're like, bit too dark sometimes, but you get it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had something like that with my son actually when John was a race car instructor, so he taught all of our kids how to drive. And
Good
when
idea.
Duncan came, I know I hated it because I'm like nervous. I'd be like, "Arr, arr, arr," do all the mother things, grab the reel, and John would just put his hand on me in the back like, "Shh." Shh. And Duncan just he's 16 in February, so I had to teach him
Mm,
to drive this time. Oh my God, it was
mm,
horrible. And I was like, "Duncan, like what are you doing?" And he like looked at me, he's like, "Sorry, my dad died, mom, and you have to teach me."
mm.
But it was actually kind of he did it in a funny way
Yeah, I
that
get it.
I was just like, it stuck. I was like, okay, my bad, carry
Mm,
on.
yeah,
But he
yeah,
wasn't like it was done in that dark humor kind of way and
yeah,
not in a like my heart is
yeah,
breaking kind of, but
yeah.
so those
I love
pieces
that.
that
I love when they can have that as a sense of humor. I want to segue into something that has happened since we last spoke. Would you like to tell us what you've been up to since we last spoke and what has come out? I'm going to let you share.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So well, when we last spoke, I had just released my book, and
Mhm.
then we got so caught up we forgot to talk about it. So
I know, right? It just
yeah,
came out and we didn't even mention it. So
yeah.
here we are.
Uh, but It was awesome. So that's been fun. So we've been doing my nephew co-wrote the book with me, and it's called
Mm,
Where's the Key to the Safe? And just a little backstory in that. My husband was a financial advisor and he had brain cancer. So we knew it was
mm,
probably not going to end well, and we had time to plan and do all the things. And even though we had a CPA, a lawyer, did all the, we had a team in place and had time.
mhm,
And it
mhm,
was the business of death, I call it, was not
mm.
easy.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know where the key to the safe was. Literally did not know where the key to the safe was. So that's why I named it that. Where's the key
Yeah.
to the safe? And the subtitle of the book is How to Avoid Probate Pitfalls and Maximize Family Finance.
Mm.
Because
That's a mouthful.
yes, you don't know until you know. And
Yeah.
so we thought we had everything together, but we didn't. And so the
Mm,
business of death was still very difficult. And so for me, I was like, man, I had a team. I had a husband with a financial, like a successful financial practice.
mm.
We had time to plan, and it still wasn't easy. So how is it for somebody that's,
Yeah.
person dies on the way to work or a heart attack or whatever, and you're trying to make all these decisions while you're in this grief haze, and they're
Mm.
big decisions that it's
Yeah.
impossible. So that's what gave me the idea to write the book, is just to get everything down and done ahead of time, even though people don't like to talk about
Yeah.
death and the plan, but
So are you
but
saying that is for people to prepare
mm,
themselves for that, or people
yeah.
who might be terminally ill and would need that support?
Anybody. It's
Yeah.
literally meant for anybody you have a financial link to. So it could be your
Yeah.
parent,
Yeah.
sibling, your business partner, your kids. It's just
Mm,
setting everything up because we go through everything. And I say I brought my nephew in because he's
mhm,
a financial planner as well.
mhm.
So it's very much I read a lot of financial planning books after John died because I wanted to feel like I knew what I was talking about, meeting with
Yeah.
the lawyers and the CPAs. And they're very dry and very boring,
Mm,
especially if you don't like that topic, which I don't.
mm.
And so I want it to be real conversational and really feel like you're sitting down with me having a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. And
Mm,
so I, each chapter, we cover everything from, insurance policies, like how much you need for umbrella policy, what do you need for car insurance,
mm,
to like your, IRAs and all your beneficiary stuff, everything. It covers everything, even business continuation plans, because John had his own
mm.
business and we so each topic, each has its own chapter. And it starts with Pam, and I give a little anecdote. I'm a storyteller. So I give a little anecdotal story, and then my nephew's name is Cameron. And so it's Cam. Cam comes in and
Mhm.
gives the
Okay, okay, I love it. Awesome.
and he went through the whole thing with me. And so,
Mm,
we made a little workbook that goes with it. So you can literally go chapter by chapter. And if you fill all that out, you hand it to your estate planning lawyer or whomever, get it legalized. You have everything done, everything's
mm.
taken care of. So when you or your person or whoever dies, you can actually just honor and grieve instead of like
Yeah,
scrambling to figure out how you're going to do the business of death.
yeah.
So,
And that is such a huge part, because I was one of them who didn't have anything in order. Like we were lucky that Rob took care of all the insurances, so we were looked after. He looked into that, and at the same time, we didn't have a will, because it was the hardest part for us to decide what would happen to our children if both of us died. And
yeah.
that was such a hard question. We honestly, I kid you not, we've been talking about this for 10 years. 11
Wow.
years. We got the first will kit when I was pregnant with my first son, and he was 10 when Rob died, and we still didn't have a will. So
Wow.
yeah, of course we didn't talk, 10 years straight, but there was times in between where I was like, oh, we should really talk about this. And you don't think when you're 45 that will happen to you, but nobody does. Nobody ever thinks it happens to you until it
No.
does. So I'm the perfect example for your book, that it would have been amazing to have a book like that, to work through that together while you don't have to worry about things. Once you're in the worry, then it already goes into overwhelm. So having something to prepare yourself for that is amazing. I just want to highlight that, because I would have been the perfect candidate for your book. So
Well, so
now
many.
yeah,
Mhm.
I just want to say now I'm grateful I've got it all sorted. But I sat with my lawyer, and luckily she's a friend of mine, and she literally took me by the hand and only pushed anything towards me that needed to be signed, and then gave me the rundown. what I'm actually signing, why I'm signing this, what the connection is. And I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you, because I did not have the brain capacity in my grief to read through legal stuff where I have not, I don't have a legal brain, you know, my brain doesn't work like that, paragraphs. And I'm not, mom, oh my God, give me the
No,
rundown. What am I signing and why? She was
yeah,
incredible, absolutely
that's
incredible.
really fortunate because
Yes.
just have someone you trust that can take you through all that.
Yeah.
That's why I like having my nephew there.
Yeah.
He worked for my husband and just had all the know-how, and my brother-in-law really helped a lot too. And
Yeah.
they just, yeah, couldn't have done it without them. I mean, I don't even
Mm,
have many memories of that whole first year. So
yeah.
how are you gonna make these big decisions while you can't even like retain anything?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so many
Yeah.
people
And
think
throw in the kids as well. You know, how old were your kids when John
my
died?
kids were they were 12 to 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're pretty much all 3 years apart. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's a lot. And a lot of people do think that if you just have a will, you're good, but you're not. It's like that. You have to take it
There's
to
so
the
much
next
more to
level.
it.
Man. But like you experience yourself, like some of these things are like paralyzing,
Mm.
and Cameron did a great job because at the end of his stuff, he has like reflective questions that he does a really good job of taking the emotion out of
Mm.
the topic
Yeah.
and really like logically be able
Mm.
to dial in on how you need to take care of that, which helps so much,
Yeah.
especially if you don't have that legal or financial mind. I don't
Yeah.
like John would try to talk to me about it all the time. I'd like glaze over. I'm like, this is so boring. I can't do it. Can't.
So glad you're doing that.
Yeah, until he wasn't there to do it anymore. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you need to do
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
we've been doing a lot with that. We do workshops now and seminars and
Awesome.
just to teach people and just give them the tools to
Mm.
for financial empowerment, really, just to have
Mm.
to normalize the conversation of death and the business of death, like normalize
Yeah.
it. And we all die, you know, but we all think we have a lot more time than probably we do. So
Yeah.
it's an easy thing to put off, but it truly is the best gift you can give anybody you leave behind is just having the stuff together
Mm.
and leaving them in a good place,
Yeah.
where they don't have to try to deal with it after the fact, but they are also taken care of, if it's somebody
Mm.
you're financially responsible for. So it's a big
Yeah.
deal. It's a really big deal. So
It
we've been doing
is.
a lot, and that's been really fun. And it's fun to work with him. I say Cameron, he's 28 years old, and my
Mm.
husband was actually his father figure too. And
That's amazing.
yeah, it's been great, but I joke in that he was kind of like born like an 80-year-old. So he's
Oh,
often
wow.
like the oldest one in our
Perfect.
family, even though
Yeah.
chronologically not the oldest, but
Mm.
everybody sort of turns to him for like everything. So it's cool. But we do a lot with that, which is really fun. And then I was talking about how, I have all these different things. I have the widows, I have the app with Widows Who Whine, who
Mhm.
the idea is to take this whole Widows Who Whine
Is
thing.
the app called Widows Who Wine so people can find it?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's still like sort of in this baby stage. It's out
Mhm.
there. It's in the app stores, but I don't love it yet. I'm still tweaking. So that's there, and then all the different branches. I was feeling overwhelmed and discombobulated. So I have been,
Mm.
like I told you, working with a branding company and working
Yeah.
on the personal Pam Baker brand to get all the branches of the different things that I'm working on between the book and the podcast and the app and the Widows Who Wine group and all the different things sort of under one umbrella and figure
Mm.
out how to manage it all. So that's how I've spent like the last couple months is really dialing in on that and
Yeah.
working on stuff. So yeah, that's where we've been. It's
That's
been
awesome. I really love that. I really love that you guys are running workshops on that. I think that is something that can be so helpful when you're sitting there. And I think the book is amazing, absolutely amazing that you have that for somebody to be able to work through that. And then there are people like me, I confess that right here, that also need that as an additional support. I love doing things in workshops where I can sit with other people who are going through the same thing, where I can ask questions on the spot. And that to me would be amazing. So I'd be the person to buy your book and then look through it and then go like, oh, I've got to the workshop. I need support in this.
Uh, yeah. Well,
But I'm
that's the
so
whole
glad
point.
that
Like I
it's
said,
out
it's
there.
like we want to like feel like we're taking you by the hand and helping you
Yeah,
get through this stuff.
yeah,
And on the other end of it, you'll be like, So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Got it.
incredible. And everybody listening to this, don't worry, we'll be sharing all that, all the links that we have in the show notes. Is there links to the workshops as well? I'm putting on a spot here.
Actually, I'll give you, I don't know that I ever sent this one, but we have a website for our book stuff and the
Hmm.
workshops and all that stuff are on there. We
Perfect.
even, if you get on the email list, you get a little financial first aid kit to get you going.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
Email.
Perfect. We'll put all of that in the show notes, and in particular how you get the book, of course. So Pam, I love that you came back to share all of that because I can't believe, like, you and I, we could talk for hours. We've got all these stories that are coming in, and I love that. I love that so much because that's what we need more of. The storytelling is that's what connects us all from heart to heart, and that's how I feel when I sit with you. So we could talk for hours, and that's why I knew. Oh my God, I just can't believe that the book came out. We haven't even talked about it. You come back, you come back. We'll do
I
a
know
part
that was
two. So
hilarious. It was
yeah.
like the point of me being on it, and then we never talked about it. But
I know,
that's
right? I
our
don't even
vibe
know
so
how that happened, but I love
good.
how it's so organic and it's perfect. So at least I got to have you here a second time. That is
I know.
perfect. So thank you for coming back and sharing all of that. And for anyone listening, check out the show notes. This is live, so you won't see them just as yet. If you watch a replay, they'll already be in there. So give me half an hour and it'll all be in the show notes. Pam, is there any last words that you would like to say to people that are sitting there going like, where do I even get started with all of this?
Well, I'll do two things because on the widow front, I will say I want people to get rid of the old antiquated way of thinking about widows, that when their husband's
Hallelujah.
life ends, their life is also over.
Mhm.
It's not, it's our lives are not over. So
Yeah.
when people what can I do to help? What can I do to help? Help the person in your life who's a widow go from that surviving to thriving. Help them sort of
Mhm.
reinvent themselves and reimagine what their
Yeah.
life is going to be in this next chapter, because this next chapter, it's okay for it to
Yeah.
be super cool and super fun and super full of joy and passion and fulfillment.
Thank
And
you.
we all have the right to have that in whatever
Mm.
time we have left. And
Yeah.
it's not a disservice. It's not saying I'm over my husband. It's not saying, I I hate that when people say that. Get
Mm.
over it, whatever. We're not getting over them. We will honor them. We will
Yeah.
toast to them. We will,
Yeah. We'll carry them
remember
with us in our hearts.
carry them
Yeah.
and also go on to thrive. So that is my message to anybody who knows a widow in their life. Like, the best thing you can do is support her in her thriving in that next
That
step,
deserves.
and not just, oh, look at the hearts. And as far as the book goes, it's what I mentioned already, the biggest gift you can give to the people in your lives, whether it's your parents or your siblings or your business partner or your kids, anybody you have any financial link to, set them up for success. Set them up
Yeah.
for success. Make their lives easier. It's the biggest gift you can do is do
Yeah.
the hard work now. It's not fun. It's not fun to talk about dying. It's not fun to think about it, but it's really important. And you need to take that step further than a will. Take the
Yeah.
will and get this. And a lot of people think that they can't have an estate plan unless they're super rich. Everybody should have an estate plan, because all
Mm.
it's doing is that next level of the will, taking it to the
Yeah.
next level, keeping
Yeah.
protecting your family, protecting your future. So yeah, that's what I
I'm
think.
so, so grateful for everything that you said, and in particular, the two wrap up things that you just put out there. I couldn't agree more. I have literally nothing to add other than saying thank you so much for coming back, Pam. I really love that. And everybody listening to that, if you have any questions, any things unanswered, get the book and then go to the workshops. Do you do them online as well or
Reach
just in
out to
person?
me. We haven't yet, but we would. I mean, we've even
Good.
had people,
We
you read the
will.
book for,
Now
yeah,
you have
like
to.
read the book for
Now
book
it's out
club.
there.
We'll zoom in and be your
Yeah,
book club person that comes in
perfect.
and walks you through it. So yeah, and honestly, you can go to my website, that website, you can reach out, email me, no matter where you are in the world. Whatever I can do to help, I'll help. I mean, it's important. So I'll do it.
Thank you.
But thank you
Lovely to
for having
have you here again. And everybody, thank you for watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. This is Pam and Marie signing off. Thank you for being here. Bye.